Hi everyone. We are the business services and paralegal team at Montresor Legal. And we did a poll last week or the week before, Stevie?
Last week
on LinkedIn to ask everyone what they wanted us to talk about and hear our thoughts on good and bad. And the winning part of the poll was CV formatting. So we are here today to talk about CV, our tips, our thoughts, and generally our ideas on what makes a great CV and what doesn't. So yeah, we're just going to go around the room and introduce ourselves. So we'll start with you, Alex.
I'm Alex Crabtree. I work on the business services side and I'm a candidate manager.
Hi, I'm Stevie. I work on the business support team and I'm a recruitment consultant specialising in all business support roles for law firms.
Hi, I'm Lucy and I am a senior recruitment assistant.
And hi, I'm Oliver Woodward. I also work on the business support and services side as a consultant.
So, where should we start?
So I think for me, obviously we're not on here to slate people's CVs. That's not
Definitely
what we're doing.
Definitely not.
It's just kind of a little bit of guidance as to what looks good for the client. So in terms of the format side of things, I think as a general rule of thumb, like the more boring your CV looks, the better. So just black text, same font.
Yes.
No
Some
crazy colours.
Block colours. Yeah, you get like a bit of red and then a bit of blue.
Yeah.
And then the first thing I'll do to that before I send it to a client is put it all in black font because it looks smarter. Yeah.
And I think also when we're sending your CV to a client, we will always take out your personal information, especially photos. So there's no point in putting one on. It just creates like bias. So we wouldn't put anyone's photo on there.
And one thing we don't do is we try not to format people's CVs. So what we prefer to do is keep CVs as you've written them, but just smarten them up, tidy them up. Like Alex said, if you've got coloured font, we put them in black just because that looks nicer, and obviously take off contact info. Stevie, you had some thoughts on a personal profile.
Yeah, I think a personal profile is always really important for your CV. It paints like a really nice picture of your background, what you might be looking for in terms of your career. And it's just a really, nice opening paragraph that the client will read and immediately think, oh, I like this sound of this person and their experience. And, I think keeping the CV consistent, like what Alex said with the formatting, is really important as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it is important for it to be very clear and very concise and very to the point. You're trying to sell yourself, but the average client is going to be going through, a bundle of CVs. So it is so important just to have nice personal profile and, like you said, very simple.
Yeah. That's a really good point, how clients go through and they do have a lot of CVs. People probably wonder, what can they do? What can they put on there to make themselves stand out? I always think, like, short but not too short. And then there's that whole thing, should a CV be a page? I disagree. I think if it goes on to 2 pages, fine. Should it be 4 pages? No. We had a conversation about this, didn't we?
I personally don't think that a partner at a law firm is actually going to have the time to read a 4 or 5 page CV. I think they just want, the sort of 2-3 max pages.
Yeah. I do hear you on that. Yeah, definitely. And I think also things that make you more interesting are having at the bottom hobbies. I don't know how you guys feel about hobbies and stuff.
I've had some crazy hobbies.
What was the one you had the other day? It was so interesting.
I think...
Was it something to do with handwriting?
No, it was like a fountain, passionate fountain pen collector.
Passionate.
Which is
great.
Passionate makes it so exciting.
The passionate part really tickled me.
Yeah, or you get avid football fan. Or
just Netflix.
I've had Netflix a few times.
On the football side, I would say, if you support a football team, leave that team out, just because that can create bias as well.
Especially if you're an Arsenal fan.
or anything. Just maybe don't put in the team you support, because that can.
Yeah, of course, people have strong views, don't they?
Yeah,
so,
especially when it comes to football.
Yeah.
What I've heard.
Also, date of birth and whether you've got a full UK driving licence, that doesn't need to be on the CV ever.
I can see why people put it on there, but yeah. if it's not relevant to the job,
Yeah.
which, you know,
Yeah.
if you're a legal secretary, do we need to know if you've got a driving licence? No, so maybe leave it off. Yeah.
There are just ways you can save space on a CV by not inputting that information. Personally, this is a personal preference. I wouldn't put references upon request. I know a lot of people do, but the likelihood is,
It's like a given.
yeah, your employer will always request a reference.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Or even take the time to put like the contact details, Francesca Milton, Montresor, my email address. Like, you know, I've noticed people do that.
Yeah,
Maybe more on the temp side.
We've got to take that off.
Yeah.
Before we send it to clients anyway.
So yeah, it shouldn't be on there.
I think there's such fixation as well between the length of how long, you know, a CV should be.
Yes.
But the reality is, if you've had an incredible career at like
You wanna
go for
get
it,
that
2-3
experience on.
pages,
Yeah.
but what people I find do is they've got 20 online courses they've done.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I see your point,
and
yeah.
just padding it out with a load of stuff that isn't needed.
Yeah. Which makes me think that you could have certain CVs for different roles. So you could have, if there's a particular position that you're applying for that needs a load of those courses, but maybe not these, you could adapt it. So I know people that have a CV for doc review, a CV if they're applying for something more paralegally, to pull out the different types of experience. And also, depending if they're maybe a secretary that's done a bit more floating, maybe they want to, if they're going for a role in property, they want to pull out all of their property experience, have like a property focused CV or something like that. It's definitely not a bad thing to have versions of your CV.
I agree.
It's a good skill to have, to be able to tailor it to different roles that you're applying for too.
Yeah, it's not easy. Writing the CV takes a while. Layout with dates. Were you gonna?
Yeah, so I think Oliver was going to say about dates and about your degree. Like, you have to have the grades.
Not putting the grade on.
But Oliver will go into the date side.
I think just when it comes to contract, permanent, you know, fixed term, things like that, it is so important because it's not clear. It does look like you've jumped around from job to job to job to job, and people are going to question it and may not even have the time to go back and say, was this fixed term? Was this permanent? You know, if it's fixed term contract, it makes sense that you're going back and forth for, you know, different companies and different roles within the next 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And it's just so important. Because unfortunately, because of the massive CVs a lot of these people are going through, you are judged almost straight away. And that could be an issue. Timescales, you know, well, have they done something wrong? Whilst if it's a fixed term contract, it's great. You're getting like more exposure to different businesses, but different, I don't know, systems. If it's in the tech world, you know, it's actually a benefit, but it can be frowned upon.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it just looks like you haven't passed your probation then.
Yeah.
And with the dates, like, make sure you have the month. Like,
Yes.
like January to
2023 could be, you could have worked there a year or a month.
If you just say 2023 to 2023, like, how long have you worked there? Like, what month did you start? So it's always good to have the month and the year. Like, with every job that you had, I think.
Okay, everybody's opinion on photos. Photos on a CV. Any of you got a photo on your CV?
No.
That's for LinkedIn, right? Then just put your LinkedIn profile on.
Totally.
Yeah. I think I see them less and less these days, people put in photo. No, you think we still see them a lot?
I think if you're in the creative industry, photos and portfolios are definitely a thing, but not for professional services.
I find that outside of the UK as well, it's more common.
Yes.
So people, applying from outside of the UK, usually always put a photo on.
Yeah, true. So we're thinking no to photos would be our general.
We've got to take them off anyway. We can't send them to the client.
Yeah, we do take it off. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think proofreading as well.
Yeah.
Like, make sure that your first line there isn't a spelling error.
Yes. It's actually so shocking how many people have spelling errors in their CV, and I understand that when you've written a CV and you read it again and again and again, I've often written an email, read it again and again and again, sent it, and it's there's an error. Of course you're not going to see everything, but if you read really slowly each word, really slowly, especially like an opening profile, because I've had so many clients look at a CV and say, we would have interviewed them, but the partner spotted a mistake, and it's attention to detail. It's massive.
We had one last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Came round and said, no, not interested.
I think it makes a difference whether you send the CV or not to a client.
Yeah. It definitely makes us question attention to detail, because you should definitely be getting your CV right.
Especially if it isn't the first line.
Yes, exactly. Any pet peeves on CVs? Things that you don't like?
I've loads.
Come on then, let's have some of this.
I don't want to be rude.
Big words.
Passionate hobbies.
It's your opinion, that's okay.
I know, but I don't want people to assume that we're like attacking the way that they do CVs, because that's not what we're doing. We're just giving advice.
And ideas.
People
and our
don't have to
thoughts.
follow that advice.
Absolutely. This is our opinion, just from doing this job and from what we see and what we think is good and bad.
Yeah, I think my pet peeve is when people don't add enough detail, and you've got to go back and be like, can you?
Oh, yes. I would absolutely agree with this.
Like, it's bullet fine.
So
put
you've
it
been
all
in the
bullet
job
points.
for 5 years, and this is the amount of information you're giving us. Like, tell us
Yeah.
more. Like, who
Yeah.
do you work for? What do you do? Like, what systems do you use? You know, what?
That's
you don't have
another
to
thing,
have the job
systems.
spec, but
Yeah.
a bit more
Yeah.
meat on the bone.
Yeah, even bullet points is absolutely fine. We prefer bullet points. It's easier to read. Like, love a bullet point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love a bullet point, but just make sure you're getting that information in. Make sure you're putting your uni grades on there.
Yeah.
Like, even if they weren't the grade, like, no shame, but
Yeah.
we just need the grades.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
client will always...
We'll always ask for the
Ask for
grades,
it, yeah.
and then if they've ended up having to ask for the grades, all it says is like, why didn't you put them on? Just own it.
Yeah.
You've got what you've got,
Yeah.
but you've got the experience you've got to where you've got. This is you.
Yeah.
Just own it.
They just need to know, but they'll probably hire you on your experience alone.
Exactly. Yeah. And if they don't, maybe they're not the firm you wanted to work for.
Yeah, I agree.
We've already covered typos. Spacing annoys me when you have a CV and then like a gap and you just think, oh, how have you not done the spacing right? Although I think now more and more people put it into PDF, so that can look a lot better.
I'm personally not a fan of the awful boxes that people will put around their text and
Yeah,
margins, because like if we need to amend the CV...
Mainly because, is it mainly because you don't know how to do it?
Yeah, it might be that. But also, I just find it irritating. I'm like, no one needs a box.
Yeah. Also, how do they sit? So they sit there and they put the box and
It's
they
like
put
a
the
text box.
And then I blame it on not being able to use my MacBook, but that's not it.
That's all you've done since you've joined, Stevie, is blame your MacBook. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
What about email addresses? Non-professional email addresses.
Dolphin lover. So good.
Yeah, my first one was Ollie Dolphin Lover at hotmail.com.
Yeah.
Obviously, went to the zoo one day and thought, there we go, love a dolphin. But I've seen it before for like, serious roles where it's like Frankie Babe at MSN or something.
Yeah. Or like XO,
Yeah.
or like underscore
Yeah.
babe.
Gossip
and,
Girl,
like,
XOXO.
Or I had at the beginning of my career, like, I don't know, Francesca 1987 at hotmail.com. Like, just let's not put our year of birth. Like, I think a lot of people do have professional emails now, but you do still see them pop up, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you see? You don't. Do you still see
But
them?
it is a pet peeve. of
It
mine.
is a pet peeve. Yeah, 100%.
Mine's
yeah.
not super unprofessional. It's just got like a number in it.
What is yours? Is it date of birth?
I'm not going to say it on here.
Oh, okay. Oh, you don't want everyone emailing you?
My personal email address.
Hi, Alex. How viral do you think this CV formatting video
Great
is going to
5-minute
be?
video.
I don't know.
Okay, I have one last one, and that is different sized fonts. So people will do their profile in a certain font, and then this bit in a certain font.
Comic Sans.
Oh, yeah. Fonts in general. Let's talk about fonts. For me, it's Arial 10. It's Arial 10.
Yeah.
Arial 11 at a push.
Helvetica is good. Don't mind a bit of Helvetica.
I've never used that one.
That's your email font. though.
Yeah, that's
Well, I never. I didn't know.
But that font's nice. Like any professional looking
Yeah.
font. No Times New Roman.
No. Oh,
Because it
No.
looks like a typewriter, right?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, I think
very
that's
dull.
the point. Yeah, it does look a bit dated. Yeah. And so for me, it's Arial. For you, it's What's it called?
Either Arial or Helvetica. I don't even know if I'm saying that
Helvetica.
right. What if I've said it so wrong and people still... we'll go viral just for that.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think it's that exciting. Stevie, what's your favourite font?
I quite like... But
This is a
So
next question.
exciting.
the fact that I've got favourite is pretty sad. But I don't actually know how to pronounce it. It begins with C.
Calibri, that one.
That's the one.
I don't know how to pronounce it. That was a
That's
guess
my
too.
email font, and that's the font I always use.
Yeah, I quite like that one. I like that for email.
Yeah, I think it's nice. It's small, it's concise, the spacing's cool.
See how much thought goes into how a CV
Yeah.
looks really behind the scenes. Yeah, I think that's it. Unless there's anything else, I think that's most of our tips, thoughts, opinions. You can listen to them or not. We hope this has been helpful. We will put out another poll soon for our next video, and you can let us know what you want to hear more about. So thanks. Bye.